rather nervous. He hasn't had the best showing in his first 3 games. First game, he obviously had that mishap with AP masteries. Second game is Fiddlesticks into a very poor comp. Third game, unable to secure any objectives with his smite. Here, though, he has picked up a win. If he could help Dignitas to a win over Cloud9, it would go a long way in getting him a permanent spot on this Team Dignitas roster.
And we'll see if this can happen now. Sivir away from CoreJJ, Lulu away from Shiphtur and Gamsu. Now, we keep seeing Lulu picked into Kennen. I wonder if that's going to be the rush pick from Balls. You're seeing a lot of top lane bans here. Nidalee gone, Rek'Sai and Vi still up, though. Meteos defaulting to those pretty often.
The Zed ban.
No, yeah, the Zed ban also a big one. Yes, Dignitas learning that lesson. But it's Lissandra, actually, that Balls wants to play.
Yeah, well, we say that, but it could also be High. High did play Lissandra all the way back in week 2. And Balls is actually yet to play Lissandra this split. Especially since High's big ol' Zed was banned. There's a chance.
Needs a new champion. Well, we'll see if anything else gets contested away. And I'm kind of curious to see what angle Dignitas takes. Are you taking contested picks away? Are you picking something just safe and waiting to show your team comp later on? Of course, Dignitas will have last pick being red side. They say Sivir's gone, so we want Corki. Deny that from Sneaky. And with Nidalee gone, take the Rek'Sai away. So Azingy and CoreJJ on some pretty strong champions.
Yep, pretty generic picks right there, trying to get a strong pressure game here, as well as denying the Rek'Sai a little bit from Meteos. I feel like Meteos will end up picking Vi this match with Rek'Sai and Nidalee off the table. Doesn't need to do it now, but could very easily do it now, since it's not like there will be heavy counterpick opportunities if he does decide to pick Vi. It all depends on whether or not Dignitas thinks, or sorry, if Cloud9 thinks any of their picks will be contestable by Dignitas.
And Kennen does come through after all, so you're right, it is the Lissandra mid most likely. Kennen top lane, and right away Morgana picked up for LemonNation. We talked about maybe that being a setup for Vi here. Morgana, one of the last great ones at stopping her from doing her job.
Yeah, and Morgana is one of the things that was actually banned away by Impulse for Cloud9's match yesterday. To think about those 2 solo lane picks from Cloud9, though, it is heavily flexible. If we think all the way back to the beginning of Cloud9, High played a ton of Kennen in the mid lane and is actually very comfortable on that champion. So there's a big chance they flex those lanes back and forth, since they're kind of both known as top laners, but can both go mid.
That's true. Well, we'll see what happens here. But by the way, Rek'Sai and Jarvan both locked in for Dignitas. Now, it's top lane Jarvan supposed to be good against Lissandra. That's the matchup we keep hearing about, right?
It is, but I think it was Gamsu who actually played the Rek'Sai into Dyrus, if we think back to that one game in the top lane. Although Rek'Sai against a Lissandra or a Kennen doesn't sound like a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
This will be really interesting. There's a lot of swappable picks here as far as which lane they will go to.
Yeah, even Annie could be a mid laner here or a top laner, though this one is most likely actually going to KiWiKid here. And Dignitas showing interesting things. Now, Meteos hasn't really played Jarvan all split long anyway, so it's not like the Jarvan steal, air quotes, means much, but again, they just want it for the various matchups they're going into. So I do want to see how that AD top lane is going to go here. And, ooh, it is Sejuani, so Meteos picking up a jungler really for the first time this split. And it's our second Sejuani in the North American LCS, I believe. Yeah,
but if you actually look at Meteos' solo queue accounts, Sejuani is near the most played this season across all of his accounts. It's something Meteos has been wanting to bring to the LCS for quite some time. He was just waiting for the right environment to do so. They got a lot of magic damage wombo right here that could maybe be set up by that monstrous ice bowl that Sejuani gets to throw out.
And that could be fun. And finally, Shiphtur is going to get Ahri for the mid lane in this game. So, a bit of split pushing power here if you consider it might be a Rek'Sai in that top lane after all. Ahri able to be pretty mobile, Corki the same. And Cloud9, to contrast to when Gravity played Sejuani earlier, there's actually a lot more champions that can start the fight. A Kennen flank, a Lissandra flank, even a Dark Binding, things like this. So you don't have to just hide from Sejuani, you have to hide from all of Cloud9 if you don't want to get fought.
And of course, Cloud9 can't do any champion trades after 20 seconds. They're swapping Lissandra and Kennen back and forth a couple times. As soon as 20 seconds goes in, there's no more switching back and forth. So yeah, it is the Chipmunk Kennen in the mid lane. and Lissandra in the top.
And it's also Jarvan top, by the way. So it is Rek'Sai jungle, Gamsu playing Jarvan up there. And in fact, they found that Jarvan-Lissandra matchup after all. So
yeah,
this is going to be a fun one. Gamsu, one of the best performing players on Team Dignitas. He brought out top Rek'Sai in the first couple of weeks, now top Jarvan. He's the only player that I know of to play Renekton up here as well in the North American LCS. He's kind of dictating his own champion pool and saying, this is how I'm going to win top lane.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that top lane matchup in particular. It is the Jarvan nerfed with less armor, which kind of typically hurt his jungling in late game. Good thing is against a magic damage dealer in that top lane, it might not affect him as much as it does Jarvan in the jungle.
He's against a 4x AP comp. I feel like armor a little bit less important in this game. You guys remember to keep sharing your votes throughout the game on Twitter by sending hashtag C9win or hashtag DIGwin to @LOLesports. Got a couple of fun new things coming on in this game. It's going to be a blast.
Getting to see high on a new champion this split as well. After 5 consecutive Z games, he defaults back to an old favorite of his, all-time in LCS play. High is actually...
One is afoot. Cloud9 on the blue side. Dignitas in red. This is a battle that Cloud9 fans, I assume, expect to win. But Dignitas, after taking down Coast yesterday, we'll see if they feel any more energetic. See if they can do it.
Yeah, High starting with boots on Kennen. It's the first mid lane Kennen we've seen in LCS this split. First game on Kennen this split for High. As you mentioned earlier, though, all-time in the LCS, High is 5-0 on Kennen. The flag scouts it out.
All right, Demacia claims that brush for 3 more seconds. And they will lose their claim. Cloud9 still wanting to control this top river here. I want to know just what's going to pass. Just a couple of semi-aggressive wards to see if invades are going to happen. Cloud9 otherwise not trying to do too much. Shiphtur good at juggling with one ball. It's not very hard.
Yeah, the early game right here ends up just being the defensive wards after the flag scouted things out. And it's interesting, I've noted we've seen a lot more lane swapping most recently in the NALCS. I think a lot of that is propelled by CLG's dominance in the early game. When you can end up winning the game without actually doing standard lanes, it becomes a much more reliable way of achieving victory. So I think a lot of these teams in North America are just trying to perfect this lane swap game or even get on the level of the other teams because they are tired of losing from lane swapping.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're trying to practice it and do it themselves. Here, though, we see Cloud9 actually trying to match. Very strange opening, actually. Dignitas already having 4 people up in the top lane, and Gamsu...
He built the freeze himself.
What is he going to do? Yeah, he built the freeze himself, only to leave? I'm not sure what's going to happen.
So he showed up in lane in case it was a one-on-one, in case there was no lane swap after all. Upon realizing it is a lane swap... No, just kidding. It's a 2-on-2 after all, so that's really tricky. Support with Jarvan... Dignitas realizes, oh, it's 2-on-2. Gamsu's got to teleport to get to his own lane because you don't want to lose XP in a one-on-one. You don't double jungle in those situations. And KiWiKid has to, ooh, wow. Has to defend the 2-on-2, so tricky level 1s results in just regular lanes.
Dignitas will end up getting their 2v2 out of all this, but Gamsu puts himself into a deficit. There was an experience advantage on balls when he went to that lane as Lissandra, and Gamsu was down a teleport. Not to mention Dignitas second to level 2 here in this lane. So kind of experience discrepancies across the board, even if they're very minor for Team Dignitas.
Sneaky is down to half health, though the same for his opposing Corki. Potion's really not willing to be used yet. Sneaky not expecting to take any more damage. These bindings by LemonNation are incredible.
Yeah, I mean, LemonNation does have a lot of respect for CoreJJ and KiWiKid, saying they're underrated as a bottom lane, saying they win matchups that they aren't supposed to. And despite the poke from LemonNation, KiWiKid hitting right back, knowing that LemonNation is low on mana.
So now see if any more of this harass does land, though. You expect that there's, with both players having Ignite, decent kill pressure if they hit someone already at half health. Again, just binds for days. LemonNation earning plenty of gold for all this. And the lane now pushing back under their own turret means if they can pull Meteos in, right now DIG are overextended, but they get the ward down just now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we'll see much super early jungle pressure, since the lanes are somewhat standard. Junglers get beaten up by their own jungle so much that they had to end up picking up their jungle item. Now, after they have their respective upgrades, there's a chance we'll see some of these ganks. Meteos, slight edge in the jungle experience-wise.
He's ahead in the jungle, but overall you got to consider Rek'Sai the better early ganker.
Yep.
The damage contribution, almost the reliability of the CC is a bit higher, just that the knockup is kind of better than the Sejuani Q charge. We'll see if that ends up actually pulling out this way, though. Trailblazer for both junglers here. Early pink ward, Meteos putting that down by the mid lane. And that's going to be actually known. Ooh, engaged by Gamsu. Decent damage onto balls. And there's just no trade damage back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Jarvan Lissandra combo. If you can get the knockup from the EQ, it can be quite potent. Meteos, good pink ward control, good river control. Definitely finding himself ahead of Azingy.
Man, I like this about LemonNation. There's no skill shot poke really for Dignitas. CoreJJ would just run out of mana if he kept trying. So he can sit in these brushes and have no fear at all of anything happening to him. Even if KiWiKid stuns him, there's no follow-up without wasting Froster's Bomb and hoping that it lands. So brush control makes it very easy for C9 to hold this lane.
Very true.
And in top lane, there's, in a way, more brush to sit in. It covers kind of deeper on into the lane, so it's even more dominant to be Morgana here.
Azingy trying to help out this lane because LemonNation is providing so much aggression from the brush.
Gonna tunnel under.
Nice tunnel positioning.
Used by Lemon. Sneaky gets stunned into the knockup. He's got a dash backwards. 300 health. Ignite is on. KiWiKid, one more rotation of spells will kill him. He's gonna ignite. All right, summoner heal used for that one. Binding, nice dodge by Azingy.
Yeah, gank in the bottom lane from Meteos as well.
Gamsu's EQ is down. Down to 200 health. Good gank.
Interesting flash by Azingy. I really loved the tunnel positioning to force the flash initially. I can't say I'm a fan of his flash afterwards since he wasn't going to close into range anyway. Surprised he even burned the heal from Sneaky on that follow. And now he has no flash for a potential counter jump.
Well, maybe tunnels will be enough for him here. He's got KiWiKid coming down to support him, and a couple of wards as well make that safe. LemonNation will not stop the Gromp. Steal flash.
Oh, okay.
Balls self-ults. Not maybe what he wanted.
That's not who you're supposed to click on in a turret dive like that. Total waste of summoners there. Misplay by balls for sure. Gamsu able to survive this and get the farm at the turret. Cloud9 was definitely hoping to push Gamsu off that.
That one is not going to happen. So Jarvan is going to be happy, and level 6 in this bottom lane pretty much equals CS. Now, again, that was supposed to be a counter pick, I believe, and yet we're seeing right now just a very equal lane, but he, of course, was beset by a Meteos gank, so you can't really blame him for being behind.
So Gamsu's had a couple levels of challenge in this lane. First, he had to teleport down while Ball's in the lane. He's been working off an experience disadvantage the whole time, and he got ganked by Meteos with no ganks of his own. I would say Gamsu is kind of having the benefit of a slightly advantageous lane matchup since, by all accounts, he would be losing this lane under standard circumstances.
And I gotta say, though, overall good things for Cloud9 because they're up 1,000 gold purely from minion killing. Sneaky ahead of CoreJJ, High ahead of Shiphtur, and even Meteos ahead of Azingy. So some pretty strong farm coming out of Sejuani. Level 6 at 750. One of the faster times we see for junglers in this patch. Azingy will hit 6 off of this buff, though, as well. And you may see Rek'Sai screaming around the map before too long.
Meteos getting pretty close to being able to get the Juggernaut enchantment, but not quite there. Just picks himself up a pair of health crystals. Azingy definitely putting priority on the duo lane, gank-wise, whereas Meteos has put more of his priority to farming and to the solo side lane this game. More classic Cloud9 gank priorities. Interestingly enough, we haven't had to talk about the mid lane at all, and High is actually up in CS over Shiphtur.
Doing a very good job of that one. It looks like to be going for an early Abyssal Scepter if I look at his items properly. Azingy wants to contest this blue buff. Nice attempt there, but Meteos will smite it away. Now, this is, again, Cloud9 playing very similar situations. They don't get Zed, but they play another energy user mid. Hai does not need to take blue buffs. Meteos gets to keep farming and carry just like Season 3 Cloud9.
Oh, wow. Getting denied that Scuttle Crab really hurts Azingy. That's 80 gold for a jungler because he gets the 50 plus 30 extra. Not to mention, since that's the favorite gank for Azingy, lane for Azingy to gank, he can no longer go through river there. I feel like that was just good communication between Hai and Meteos to get Azingy off that.
So well played by Cloud9. All the same, they made that happen. LemonNation once again hiding in that brush. CoreJJ revealing himself. Nice Phospho Bomb. Says, yep, Meteos was there after all, but Valkyrie on cooldown. No gank for Sejuani.
No harm, no foul. Not sure what that Tormented Soil was for, but...
well, it made CoreJJ feel kind of comfortable, and that might have been wrong. Half health now onto Corki. Phage facing Pickaxe and Longsword, actually. Good items here. Stun's going to come on LemonNation. The sneaky keeps CoreJJ back. Just no real progress being made. Azingy continually showing up top lane, but those are Sightstone wards. They're free, essentially. Yeah. Doesn't hurt C9 too much.
Azingy trying to just use his Raptor buff again and again to clear out the vision from Cloud9, but with that really early Sightstone from LemonNation, as well as the trinket placement from Sneaky, is just not working out.
Wow.
Whoa!
Shiphtur gets out, though. I don't even think he got stunned on this one.
No, Meteos was counting on the stun as well. They were hoping to chain CC. Shiphtur definitely getting the better half of that one.
So 2 ults and a flash for just the Ahri ultimate, and that's an Ahri ult with blue buff, so not even a very long cooldown here. Another find on KiWiKid. This could be the kill pressure. Flash engage comes in. Ignite as well. KiWiKid will drop. The stun will trade support for AD carry. They will drop down. Azingy's gank finally does pay off, and they trade 1 for 1.
Yeah, 1 for 1 with the jungler there. Kind of makes LemonNation and Sneaky sad since they did have that edge in the 2v2. But it keeps the gold even overall. Question will be whether Meteos can make anything happen while Azingy is shown in that top lane. Or whether Azingy can use that kill to try and invade Meteos' jungle a little bit. So much attention to that lane by Azingy.
It's true, a ton of attention here. We're paying attention right now to the bottom lane. Ball's trying to harass Gamsu. Knockup. Nagana actually missed, gets no damage out of that. Ball's able to really outplay this matchup. Rushed Hex Drinker here for Gamsu to try to win the one-on-one. He doesn't take too much damage because of it, but Ball's continually pushing him in. Very, very unafraid.
Yeah.
Azingy hasn't even shown his face bottom lane.
Ball's really relying on his ability to outplay there. Juking inwards on the Jarvan EQ just to trade back damage. Pretty risky play, all things considered.
It is risky, but you know, overall, the risks that Cloud9 are taking are paying off. After that 1-for-1 kill trade, they're now sitting at a 1,800 gold lead, roughly here. Just, again, the laning phase, just minion kill disparities. Better farming, all that fun stuff. So you really can't hate Cloud9's play style here. Hai going to take a bad trade against Shiphtur. Wants to trade back in, won't get anything for it. Half health now on this Kennen. He has enough money to buy Abyssal if that is his first item now.
Yeah, it'll be tricky whether he wants to do that against a solo lane Jarvan. It would definitely be good in the lane matchup if he does that. Oh,
Shiphtur gets the charm, gets the dash on in, and that will be the solo kill. No! CoreJJ steals it, and the trade back. Shiphtur got stunned under turret, I believe, and the Ignite finishes him off.
Yet this time, Hai does get the stun. And now everyone kind of explodes around the map. Dignitas trying to take mid lane turret. Cloud9 takes another.
Very interesting choice right there. Barely Shiphtur dies, but it's another 1-for-1. They went mid to get a turret knowing they were going to lose top side. That was correct, as top did fall for Cloud9.
Jeez.
Another bind for LemonNation. Gamsu now given the junk lane, but with the duo lane still top, Dignitas. Turret for turret, kill for kill, but a dragon for nothing, essentially.
Yep, definitely kicking this game into gear. As soon as one team makes a commitful move, everyone just tries to take an advantage. Still kind of favor Cloud9 on this one. Dragon 1 is very rarely beneficial, especially if you're behind in the game. Because now Cloud9 is going to try and take a turret advantage. They already were able to maintain control of that side of the jungle from Azingy.
Well, I expect Cloud9 can continue to take control. That top jungle, you saw the red buff get taken. The pink ward is in there. A couple of, actually 3 deep wards in the north jungle right now from Cloud9. They immediately took over. Now you notice that Dignitas, similarly, 2 aggressive wards by them in Cloud9 south jungle, the side of the map that they gave away.
Yeah.
And as they swap the duo lane back down, there's just better ward coverage for Dignitas in this new 2-on-2.
Yeah, you're right, actually. The ward control from Dignitas ends up winning in this case, I think. Only because that's where Azingy needs clear to make his moves. There is value in knowing where Azingy is not because of the strong jungle control they have over Azingy's red side jungle. But Azingy having control over the strong side of the map for him now, especially since he likes camping his bottom lane, may be able to give Team Dignitas an edge here.
That didn't take any time at all.
Yeah, they cleared that out so easily.
He got one with Raptor. Okay, that's not hard. Then immediately, I assume it's a guess with Sweeper, and it's like, oh yeah, there's the other ward. Maybe Raptor Buff still saw it. I don't quite know. I just know he did use Sweeper there, and
yeah,
never mind.
Pretty
no
expert play there by Meteos.
That was incredible. Well, Sejuani safe in her own jungle. 23 minions up. Sightstone on him as well, so you expect Cloud9 to continue their ward coverage pretty cleanly. Upgraded Trinket for Gamsu so he can ward on the top side because Azingy's probably going to camp bottom still, and that's where his support is with the Sightstone anyway. Cloud9 up an even 2K here. They are down a dragon, but that's not as important. Bottom lane, actually, turret will die. Balls started it. Sneaky Lemon finish. And even pink wards are dying, so Cloud9 sweeping a whole bunch of wards away. Looks like Scuttler's theirs too.
Meteos starting to match Azingy to diminish his gank power, almost daring them to fight. Since they must feel like they have an edge here. I mean, it's enchant for enchant on the junglers. CoreJJ does have his Trinity Force. A 3v3 isn't necessarily a win for Cloud9, but they're playing with the confidence that it is. And Dignitas is giving them the respect, which in turn gives all the map control over to Cloud9.
Yeah, what, 2 or 3 tunnels in a row now got collapsed. Wards just got all the way up into that east jungle. You can see Scuttler's dead. 3 wards up even into the Wolf camp as well. The pink ward, by the way, in that north jungle is still there, as he didn't clear that one, whereas Meteos essentially had on the mirrored side. Ward coverage even lets balls get out. They know he's getting ganked. Nothing happens.
Huh. I wonder if this will be one of these games that Cloud9 ends up controlling. You know, it's a low kill game. Cloud9 has pulled about a 3,000 gold advantage. This is very similar to the games they were actually winning around 30 minutes during their win streak.
Yeah. Just out-farm your opponents, never get ganked, and then mid-game team fights, game ends.
Especially looking at the type of team composition Cloud9 has right now. Lissandra, Sejuani, Kennen, that's a mid-game team fight for you.
I mean, how similar is Sejuani to Zac? Right? Like the old big jungler that Meteos sat and farmed on and dove turrets with. Like, this is basically a Season 3 Cloud9 team composition.
Well, definitely is when you look at High's Kennen.
Yeah.
As far as throwbacks are
even picked the same champions in some of the cases.
Just need Zyra and Ashe to fly in there. We got it.
I believe. I'm still waiting for Ashe to come back. 2 seasons in a row, I'm like, oh, she's totally going to come back. She's really strong. And I've always been wrong.
Time to play Ashe. Scion Ashe bottom lane.
Scion Ashe? You just going team win rate?
No, you just go team good.
Just team stun into stun?
Yep. You ult as Scion ults, and...
he won't miss.
He won't miss. That is completely off topic for this game. Still worthy of a mention.
I agree.
Interesting here. I love lane wards. They're probably one of the most underrated things after turret goes down. Dignitas able to know that High is approaching. Get rid of that pink.
Yeah. Dignitas certainly not trying to give up ward control without a fight. They've gotten a couple of them killed themselves. But, and in fact, the aggressive wards on the north side have all diminished for the most part. Azingy's still not seeing that on pink, though. Mid lane seems to be the area of contention. The AD carries mostly being left alone bot lane, and the players are now roaming around the mid side. Meteos once again in the enemy jungle. Good thing about Sejuani, she's fairly safe, so if she gets jumped on, just Q away. Is maxing Permafrost second, if that was ever a question?
Yeah.
Max W than Max E.
Pretty standard skill order for Sejuani. Also pretty standard that Sejuani's have been going Sightstone early as well.
Yeah. Also 21 offense. He has a 6% armor and magic pen.
Okay.
So heavy offense for clear speed. has 31 ability power, which is actually more than Mastery, so I think that's AP Quints too.
Yep.
So definitely a lot of early power for damage to get through the jungle. That's how they're playing it. I know there was some discussion about tank junglers in the early season about how to get out of the jungle. And the consensus was generally, if you bring offensive sort of summoner stuff, you will get through it faster with some more health. And that's the way Meteos is doing that. Relying on items, Juggernaut Enchant, Sightstone, going towards Cowl or Aegis next, Ninja Tabby.
Yeah, and now it does just continue to be this farm off, and it's Cloud9 daring Team Dignitas to come fight them. What Cloud9 can do that other teams can't necessarily do that well when they do have a lead is extend that lead without conflict.
Yeah.
They're able to out-farm at a pace that puts them in position to win the game. Whether or not they can do that against Team Dignitas is yet to be seen, but it is something that Cloud9 was able to do frequently during their large winning streak before their loss yesterday to Team Impulse.
Yeah, certainly. We talked about the number of deaths in Cloud9 wins. It's under 4, right? Basically, as long as the game doesn't become chaotic, they get to play the word control game. They get to play their game, the game they like to play. Unsurprisingly, C9's good at it. Better than Dignitas, certainly, it looks like. They did better than CLG a few weeks ago at it. If they do keep the game under control, C9 just gets ahead. We talked about how Bjergsen just seems to do more damage than other mid laners. Well, C9 just seems to get more gold from minions than other teams.
Yeah, they really do. Meteos in particular. 100 CS on Sejuani already at this point. Sejuani's mid and late game is really, really good. Now that he has hit level 11 as well on Sejuani.
Yeah, that ulti is a 93-second cooldown, thanks to his 18.75% CDR from Rune's Masteries and the Juggernaut Enchant.
Yeah.
So they can even keep fighting quickly if they want to. Zhonya's also done on Kennen.
This mid lane turret's going to be the thing that Team Dignitas either defends or ends up giving up more control of the map for. They would want to fight right here, but Cloud9 is really daring them to come in, trying to engage on Kennen, Lissandra, Sejuani.
They're gonna
but they get balls.
Up. He goes down first. High re-engages 1-for-1. CoreJJ drops. Azingy will follow. High pops the Zhonya's. Sneaky to clean up. No ulti. Charmin and Meteos 2-for-1 in favor of Cloud9.
Yet, even with balls getting completely bursted out at the start of that fight, Cloud9 ends up winning it. That's how superior they are in these team fights. Imagine a fight where that doesn't happen. Do they overstay, though? Yep.
Gamsu hadn't shown up for the first fight. He was full health, full mana, had an ultimate. Explodes LemonNation 2-for-2 in the extended battle.
But the turret goes down.
Yeah.
So the map control will go over to Cloud9 in the long run here. Very interesting fight. Top laner's not having a big impact right there. Yeah, Gamsu's around the back. KiWiKid lands the stun into a chain charm from Shiphtur. They focus the right target, obviously. A very squishy Lissandra prioritizing CDR. High actually plays this fight extremely well on Kennen. Getting the zoning ultimate off on Kennen. Still getting his Zhonya's. And that's the big reason Cloud9 was able to withstand that burst onto balls of Lissandra.
Yeah. The re-engage was really strong. Meteos threw an ult in at Kennen, or sorry, at Corki. Kennen did the same thing. CoreJJ threw a rocket and then got stunned and died. Like, you do have to be very afraid of the team comp as an AD carry, which is difficult when it's engage versus engage. You don't have someone to peel for you. There's no shields given over. Like, if you're in range of Kennen, you're probably going to die if you're squishy. And so Dignitas, even though they got the jump on C9, have to respect positioning all the same. And that'll be a fun battle as it continues to develop. Ruin King will be next for CoreJJ. Youmu's already done for Sneaky, so also, again, a bursty caster build for him. Really kind of the name of the game for both these teams. Blow them up before they blow you up.
Yeah. Looking forward to see how Gamsu's Jarvan progresses in this one. I feel like he needs... If he can get a large amount of magic resist on Jarvan IV, there's a chance he would be able to have some zone control on this team. But there's just so much front-loaded damage from Cloud9. I wonder if that is a possibility.
It's actually what I like about the Youmu's Graves build. Is it's Quadra AP with a basically Brutalizer, which means if you buy MR, Youmu's is the perfect idea. If you buy armor to hurt Youmu's, you die to the other 4 guys.
Because no one should be building armor on Dignitas, Team Dignitas right now. Just because they need to withstand all the AoE initiation from Cloud9.
the question for C9 is how much do you itemize? Because there's a Rek'Sai and a Jarvan, adding a lot of physical footprint. Corki typically a bit more magic than physical.
But there's also the assassination threat from Shiphtur's Ahri. Yeah, both these team compositions are very difficult to itemize against.
Gotta say, good picks and bans so far. Maybe Rico having a good impact on Dignitas. Of course, C9 generally known for good pick ban strategies. I gotta say, both teams do look pretty nice. And we'll see how they continue to play out. C9 up 5K from 2 turrets and just minions. Really just minions.
It really is. That's a 40 CS advantage that Meteos has over Azingy. Azingy has 2 kills, Meteos has 0, but there's a 1,300 gold discrepancy in the favor of Meteos.
Yep.
Those jungle monsters, with the extra 30 gold you get every time you kill a large one from the jungle enchantment, really do add up. You'll see a difference in the CS for those junglers. I mean, a 0-0-2 Meteos having more gold than a 0-1-0 top laner, despite an 80 CS discrepancy. It's because all CS is not created equal.
Yeah.
You kill a Gromp, it's worth like 5 points, CS points, if we're ranking it that way. And Meteos has farmed very aggressively this game.
Yeah, it's more than a full melee or a full caster wave, certainly. It's more than a cannon minion as well, so. Gotta agree with you there, Jatt. The numbers not always what matters. Azingy sweeps but doesn't stay to kill the ward. Meteos and LemonNation playing a bit of a brush gambit here. They're just going to rush down the enemy blue buff, so this ward control is starting to pay off in terms of even more control as objectives start going away. Shiphtur will not be getting a blue buff this game, at least not for the next 5 minutes, I assume.
Yeah.
Flash engage, they're going to find Hai. Nice charm! Hai's got basically nowhere to go. Pops Zhonya's, but is he really going to live? No. The answer is no. Shiphtur gets the kill, assist for CoreJJ, and now some room to move for Dig.
KiWiKid on Annie. He is a playmaker. And you saw how well Team Dignitas chained their crowd control right there. Never even giving Hai a chance to Zhonya's. And, I mean, while Cloud9 goes for Dragon, it looks like they're chasing down Lissandra again.
And top lane's going to be a target as well, so Balls. That's going to be his Zhonya's from the ulti. There's still a minion wave right above them. Flash the way. Can he really live? I don't know why he really burned Flash in this one.
Well, he's trying to distract as much time as possible. Phreak. Cloud9 trying to push a mid lane turret. A lot of chaos begins again in these fights. As soon as action begins, everyone tries to make a counterplay.
Well, there's no wave for C9 just yet. It's just now coming up the lane. Gamsu will get top outer. Azingy shows up to distract. He will keep sneaky away from the turret. Youmuu's pop, red buff on, but it's not going to be enough. So mid lane turret doesn't go down. 2 waves, whatever. Top lane died and the kill.
Yeah, Team Dignitas definitely striking back a little bit. But they are kind of gated by KiWiKid's flash cooldown, it really feels like. All the big plays that Team Dignitas have made have started with a flash Annie initiation. Because he's had successful ones, though, he's been able to pick up those distortion boots.
Yeah.
And despite making a play shortly ago, KiWiKid only has another 130 seconds on his flash. So 2 more minutes, and Team Dignitas can make another big play.
Yeah, B-Warren Cloud9 at 29:15. Flash is back up for KiWiKid. And someone else might just get a teddy bear dropped on their heads and burned alive. Until they die, then they're just burned dead. Sure. Cloud9, they get Scuttler again. Got him, yep. That was a smooth transition. Dignitas seeing if they can transition a couple of kills into better map control here. They did get wards in that western jungle off those kills. Props to them. They are not running with the Sightstone on Azingy. His low farm needs to put it into tank stats here so he can survive in the front line. Hexdrinker Tiamat the build for Gamsu. Looks like he wants Maw of Mortis as well. CoreJJ flashing in. No Zhonya's ult doesn't come off in time by Balls.
Not a good week for Balls as a solo laner. His Lulu game yesterday was atrocious, and he's starting to get picked off pretty frequently on Lissandra, being solo killed by CoreJJ. Not a very excusable thing. That puts Cloud9 in a bind. They either lose this turret, or they make an incredibly risky play by posturing Baron.
Well, looks like bottom lane outer is going to die for sure. C9, they're looking at this one, but they get at best a 4v4 as long as the rest of Dignitas react.
Wow, this is really aggressive. They know it's a 4v4, but the only way they do that is if Team Dignitas doesn't check, and Team Dignitas is going to check.
Well, thankfully for C9, Dig check, or not thankfully for C9, Dig check, but thankfully for them, they didn't really push mid very fast, and Sneaky trying to loop his way back around to this lane, but bot lane still getting pressured. All the time wasted by trying to pressure Baron means they left CoreJJ alone. He's going to knock down mid-tier 2. Great flash by Sneaky, gets away from the Tibbers. They'll keep mid-tier 2 alive, but that was 2 turrets killed in a row, uncontested.
Yeah, Team Dignitas fighting back in this game, exposing some flaws in Cloud9's mid game. Definitely picking out balls as that top laner again and again. Interesting itemization choices as well by Cloud9. We see LemonNation going for Zhonya's, obviously on Morgana, but with the flash stun chain CC threat that Dignitas has, you wonder, when is the QSS going to start coming in? When are we going to see a Meteos? And all those items are really far away for Cloud9.
Yeah.
KiWiKid again does have his flash initiation and Tibbers up.
This is interesting. So you can see Dignitas trying to not play into Cloud9's habits. You can see because CoreJJ is just straight split pushing at all times. The Tiamat Jarvan great at killing minion waves. He's going to be splitting a fair bit as well. And it feels like Dig do not want to get suckered into a 5-on-5. The Quicksilver Sash, third for CoreJJ, should help him actually win duels against balls. Just cleanse the ulti and then stop caring about Lissandra existing at all. And Dig could maybe keep playing their way.
Yeah.
Saying no, 5-on-5s will not happen. We saw the inverse when Team Impulse imposed their will with the Karthus and said, no, you're going to team fight, we will control every dragon.
I also think Team Dignitas is in the midst of a bit of a mid-game power spike right here. Shiphtur's just hit some big items. Jarvan is not a great super late game champion, but right now he is an incredibly potent force as well. CoreJJ with the Trinity Force Blade of the Ruin King. It's the right moment for Corki to have an impact. As the game continues and Sneaky can have more of a natural AD carry build, I feel like he will outscale a little bit. The chain crowd control will scale with the game time as well a little bit for Team Cloud9, rather. And it is Team Dignitas' moment to make something happen. They're getting crowd control, crab control rather.
Yeah.
And they actually want to start pressing the issue on Cloud9 now that they've fought them off their doorstep.
Well, they have a little bit. They just stole the blue buff away. Azingy forced to smite, but that's fine, so no blue buff to Meteos or balls here. You can see most of C9 forced to stick around mid. It's just balls on that bot lane split push, but he's got a lot of ground still to cover. CoreJJ went topside, by the way. That's already going to crash into C9's turret, so split push actually going faster for Dignitas all the same. These individual split-up plays not nearly as strong for C9 when they don't get that Zed. They got that 6,000 gold lead from the laning phase, and then they stopped finding ways to further their advantage.
That's really what happened. It's something that Cloud9 struggled with early on in the season. Once they took down the first 3 turrets, they didn't really know what to do afterwards. They then remedied that by picking their farm strategy, growing huge 6,000 to 10,000 gold leads, taking Baron, and then winning the game.
Yeah.
But they ran into a roadblock this time. It was KiWiKid. He was able to catch them while Cloud9 was playing their farming game, and it's grabbing the control back a little bit for Team Dignitas. And
it's very impressive by KiWiKid. You expect Morgana to have some kind of impact similar with, you know, look for the bindings, maybe catch someone out, make that happen, but KiWiKid's much more reliable on Flash Tibbers. He has been given Annie, yet again, it's his second game this week on it. He said, okay, hey, they banned High Zed, cool, they removed one of his winning positions. But KiWiKid just keeps getting Annie. And, hey, look, Dig. Maybe they win 2 games this week off that.
Yeah. Dig knows all about the one champion players. High playing Zed 5 games in a row. Balls showing so much success on knockout. There's the flash initiation.
LemonNation gonna blow up first. High, can he try to re-engage? Well, Balls will drop 2 for 0. Meteos forced out, but High explodes the backline. 2 for 2. Now what's gonna happen? Well, Shiphtur's gonna happen. He's gonna find one. He's gonna run away from Sneaky. Azingy forced out. Be careful, Graves has crit. Red buff on Meteos. Has flash and rank 3Q.
I think
he's the reward, yeah.
But when will he get him?
Well, keep in mind, though, Dragon's going to be soloed right now by Sneaky. No one's going to stop him. I don't know if he cares. The ulti gets out! Azingy! Back at his own side of the map, but keep in mind, it was still, though it was a 3 for 2, it is C9 getting Dragon number 3 here.
Yep. If we look at the big picture, it's a slight win there. Also, Gamsu just now burned his teleport.
He tried to stop Dragon.
He didn't realize how easily Sneaky was going to be able to take that objective. So a bit of a misplay by Team Dignitas at the back end. Looking at this fight, the initiation was very good by Team Dignitas, but the power of High's Kennen really swings this fight. He's trapped for so long here by the Cataclysm, but flashing in, getting the stun onto CoreJJ and KiWiKid. He just blows both of them up pretty much by himself is what it looked like. Sneaky, though, untouched during all the womboing, and is able to clean up the backside of this fight. 3 for 2, though, as you said.
All right, so 10-6, Dignitas sitting within 800 gold of this game. I don't think many people predicted this game to go as close for Dignitas, let alone the chance they might even win this right here if they can keep their fighting ways up. You figure team fighting was what C9 wanted their strength to be, and they're not winning those, certainly. CoreJJ looks to be the best split pusher on the map right now. A lot of pressure points that Dignitas can maybe use to keep pushing on. Cloud9, though, to their credit, 12, 11, 10 minutes away from Dragon 5. Their ward control still hasn't really dropped. It's been contested, but they can see the map certainly pretty well.
One thing I'm waiting for, though, is a fight where Balls of Lissandra actually has an impact.
Yeah.
We know how strong Lissandra is in the late game. If he gets off one good ultimate and a good Zhonya's, now that he has high CDR and some magic penetration, I think that swings it. Because all of these fights has been KiWiKid getting the right initiation to start off.
True.
Blowing people up and going from there. Cloud9, though, a very aggressive Baron move yet again.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be too much cost to trying. They give up 10 seconds, 15 seconds of map control, and maybe Dig gets to push mid for that. But there's enough good wards here by Gamsu and co that looks like there's no sneak left. Mid lane is pushed into the turret. C9's going to hold that in time. No real pressure done. Top and bot lane left alone for now. Now, you mentioned impact by balls in fights. The question I do want to ask is who can he really hit? In that you've got Merktread's Locket on Azingy. Shiphtur's got an Abyssal. QSS on CoreJJ. Maybe they catch KiWiKid, but he's even got Meteos to save someone. I actually wonder if there is a great balls target. High's going to be certainly one. Couple knockouts. Pop Zhonya's before the ulti. They've got to be careful. Azingy will get out, but High looks like he has no engaged left. Balls home guards in, but has no targets.
So it's a 2-minute cooldown on that Zhonya's Hourglass now for High. Of course, there were 3 Zhonya's Hourglasses on Cloud9 in general that Team Dignitas wants to keep track of. Unable to change the CC after that Zhonya really hurts them in that fight.
Okay, well, we'll see if LemonNation can stick around a teammate in black, shield them before the scary stuns come in. If he can keep that one target alive through the Tibbers burst, let him actually make some plays, then life gets easier for Cloud9.
It's interesting how Gamsu is itemizing on Jarvan as well. He has the Mercury Treads and the Meteos, but that's pretty much where his magic resist ends. He is becoming a sneaky duelist more so than someone who can sit in the middle of the fight, which telegraphs his positioning a little bit in these team fights. Because they see the way that Balls and High go in on the double AP, that is very much a backline threat, whereas Gamsu is in the front lines of these things. So he's not expecting to have to deal with all that AoE, and he's really just going for straight up dueling of Sneaky, who's going heavy damage, heavy armor penetration.
Yeah.
I actually think it's the right call.
I do too.
But we have to watch if he plays it that way. Because if he gets caught in a Kennen ult or Lissandra ult, he actually will blow up.
I mean, keep in mind, it's not like Balls and High and even Meteos have to try to hit him. If he's there, he'll just take damage. That's like waiting to hit a 5th champion regardless. So certainly it's not like he's going to be pulling attention necessarily if he is there. So I agree. We'll see if he can reach Sneaky and do something meaningful. No physical damage shields except for the Locket are here to keep Sneaky alive. So Jarvan with the Ma Tiamat does have 258 attack damage. They do have Dragon 1, which now matters a lot, by the way, for that Jarvan.
Yep. A lot of extra
earlier on. Damage. 1,000 damage crits by Sneaky. It's kind of a lot. Very high AD build. No attack speed until he presses Youmu's or Quick Draw. Basically, it's interesting how that build works. I've done it a few times. You can actually Quick Draw with Youmu's on. You can Quick Draw, and then over the course of the attack speed, you reset Quick Draw all the way and get it again. So you get an 8-second long 70% attack speed buff. But if you hit downtimes where you can't attack with the Youmu's or Quick Draw buff on, then you have a really big lull where you can't get your attacks back up in time. So there's this weird burst of auto attacks required to have a good mid-fight damage output.
Speaking of lulls, the game right now is just waiting for that one catch. KiWiKid does have his flash initiation up yet again. But the fights have become so close. You could definitely see Cloud9 still having the advantage in a map pressure perspective.
Oh, hold on.
You gotta be very careful to find the right fights.
Tunnel, and out he goes. Yeah, the game gets more tense as any one champion can be just exploded with a bad face check.
I mean, we think back to yesterday. Shiphtur late in the game catches someone with his charm, game is over.
Yep.
That can happen from both sides here.
Yeah.
in this
Destroys
match.
ManCloud over a wall, and that's a Baron. Now, Dragon IV is up in 3 seconds right here. Cloud9, though, more interested in Baron, but guess what? Dragon respawns. CoreJJ is there if he wants to. C9 going to start it, though. They're going to force CoreJJ across the map.
Do they stay on it? It's getting lower and lower.
Dignitas waiting till they have the AD carry to start it. Meteos pops the lock-a shield. KiWiKid 3-man stun. Shiphtur comes in. They catch balls. It's the fight starting up, but it's 2 kills. Cloud9. Gamsu forced away. C9 looked pretty powerful, and the chase comes in sneaky and high. 1 mark from the stun. They get it. Down goes Gamsu. No ulti available now. KiWiKid forced out. 3 for 1, Cloud9.
I feel like High's Kennen is carrying this game. KiWiKid did again land the stun onto balls of Lissandra, but High's ultimate destroyed them. They got to be a little bit careful here. Does CoreJJ go for it? Sneaky is full health, though.
2v4 on Baron.
Whoa.
C9.
He goes. This is tense.
Sneaky can't be stopped till Black Shield ends, and then they can turn on him. They can turn the stun land. Summoner heal, ignite, burst damage. In comes Meteos. Sneaky versus KiWiKid jumps over the wall. Ignite will not kill him, but High takes down CoreJJ.
Again, High jumps in from the backside. KiWiKid can't do much. Meteos is too big.
Nice. High 7-3 and 3.
Yeah, and he might have enough to go back and buy a straight-up death cap, sitting on 3,000 gold after that last fight. Yep, there it is. These fights just got even scarier. KiWiKid can't really get better initiations than what he is getting. But the rest of the team can't follow up because the counter initiation from Kennen and Sejuani is too high. Looking at this fight, KiWiKid flashes, gets 3. He actually gets high in this one. But the charm can only hit 1 person. They can only burst out 1 person fully. Shiphtur gets rooted in as soon as he starts trying to combo, which just allows High to completely blow him up with that ultimate. And right back to the Baron. They go. CoreJJ and KiWiKid still dead.
All right, C9 going to rush this down as best they can. Azingy is around if he wants to stun. Goes for it, doesn't get it. Baron goes Cloud9, 1 for 0. And these guys have plenty of map control now to work with. Top lane forced to be held. Shiphtur going to run away from High. Kills what he can.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of those situations where Team Dignitas should have tried to take Dragon 2 because the Baron was pretty uncontestable. Azingy does try for the hero move, though. Unsuccessful. Now they are down a jungler for the 5-man Baron push mid lane.
And C9 are delaying Dragon 4 and thus Dragon 5 because this 5v4 is more important. They can knock down an inhibitor turret with this numbers lead. Shiphtur is still in his own jungle. He's not near this fight at all, just the turret getting pressured. No fear by Cloud9, and they're rewarded for that. 15 seconds on Azingy, now the inhibitor itself under fire.
Yeah, I mean, they're daring Team Dignitas to initiate because they know their team fight is so strong. I think they knew Shiphtur was back there.
Good plays by Shiphtur, though, gets High really low. Burns the Ignite, though, no kill for it. C9 can retreat to Dragon. Azingy's alive now. He has a tunnel that he can jump to if they wanted to fight for some reason. I mean, High's low, maybe?
Yeah.
Not going to be the case. Dragon 4 goes to Cloud9. They have not even recalled yet since Baron, I don't believe. They just showed right up to mid, had the health bars to keep going. And they've now ballooned a 6,000 gold lead.
They really have. This is also a true power point in the game for Sejuani. 0-0-10 of Meteos. I've done a lot of talking about High. Unsung hero this game, Meteos and Sneaky, of course. It's looking like Cloud9 has gotten over the hump in this match. Team Dignitas' mid-game power spiking champions are beginning to fall off, and we're really seeing the team fight supremacy of Cloud9 in these last 10 minutes or so.
I gotta say, though, the early farming style, where we didn't see much pressure from Meteos, did give room for Dignitas to maybe catch back up with some good mid-game catches. The game certainly was not out of reach from them. But later on in the game, Cloud9 make the right choice. They get the right team fights. They force the battles in the correct spots. And they're now looking at the inhibitor number 2 in the bottom lane. Sneaky with Black Shield on, pretty unafraid.
Yeah, I mean, Team Dignitas needs to do something if they don't want to give up their second inhibitor. But if they do fight here, the game may end. It's a double cannon minion wave. So that turret's going down.
It means the turret does indeed fall. 43.5 minutes in. Cloud9 looking for what could be a winning push if Dignitas actually fights this one. They will not attempt to contest with the inhibitor turret. or the inhibitor itself. Inhibitor number 2 goes down Cloud9's way. Double super minions in the mid lane. They could maybe pressure this into the turrets. But there's a gigantic wave top that C9 want to deal with.
Yep, C9's going to use one more Empowered Recall, finish up some item builds, Haunting Guys on high, Scimitar completed on Sneaky. Now it's becoming textbook. You can definitely see Cloud9 has reassumed control. 2 inhibitors down, time to get the third. There's an outer turret exposed as well. That Baron really catapulting Cloud9 into a large gold lead and solidifying their teamfight advantage.
Well, you can see all the tier 2 turrets, all the inhibitor turrets fell only under the guise of Baron buff for C9. They got those 3 outers, waited around until they could control Baron. That seemed to be the long con for them, and they finally got it after all. Smite claims the Krugs for Meteos, and now top lane's under fire. Baron buff's gone, but a 7,000 gold lead is still in the pockets of C9, and it means their inventories are better, their levels are higher. Gamsu loses 50% of his health from a crit from Sneaky.
You said 15.
15, yeah. It's about right.
He's got a lot of armor too, but you can see 5 offensive items on Sneaky right there. Gamsu 285 armor. But not all the health in the world. Yeah.
Ooh, he dashed away. Meteos gets stunned, but that's the only target. There's the hard engage onto the turret, just like old times. Cloud9 dive in. 1 kills, 2 kills, 3 kills, 4. CoreJJ not going to make it a 5th. He's going to hide away. 3 inhibitors down. Minions coming in now. This will be the next.
Yep.
Is Cloud9 coming back, taking a win. Their eyes are on first place. They took Dignitas down today to maybe get there.
Looked a little rocky in there in the mid-game, but Cloud9,
oh man,
they sure powered up. You can see it by the end of that game. 45 minutes, one of the longer games for Cloud9, but a victory all the same.
A victory all the same, and you know, Dignitas, to their credit, made them work for it. 11 kills for Dignitas. Definitely some good plays made by Dig overall. Of course, very good plays by Cloud9. All 11 turrets down. 4 Dragons and a Baron. Fantasy owners will be happy for that one. It's a good scoreline.
And a pretty uncharacteristic game, just as far as the players who were successful here for Cloud9. High was the big difference maker in these team fights. 9 kills of the team 17.
Yeah. He was involved in
16 of the 17.
Yep. Gotta say, High, the MVP of that game, I think, for sure.
Yeah, some very underwhelming play by Balls this week. His game yesterday on Lulu, 0-5-2. Today, 0-5-7 with the win. He's going to need to be playing better than that as Cloud9 sets their sights on the LCS off week when they head over to IM Katowice to play some international competition.
That's true. And their first opponent, not exactly a slouch. I think they drew GE Tigers round 1.
They did.
So,
number 1 team in the LCK currently. Undefeated in best-of-3 series.
Yeah. So
far.
But you know, this is Dignitas 1-3 with Azingy.
Yeah.
Lost to TSM, Teammate, and Cloud9. Some of these losses, of course, very forgivable, but I don't know. This does not seem like the perfect Dignitas lineup just yet. They're trying to find what's going to work. They're sitting right now still in 9th. There is the slightest of chances that Coast can pass them, but it would require a miracle.
It's true.
But either way, Dig's reality right now is they are facing the promotion tournament. They have 4 regular season games left to play.
Yeah,
you can
and
see
they
their
play
faces. They don't.
CLG, Gravity, Team Impulse, and Team Liquid. So there are some teams that they could potentially fight. I pinpoint their second game of Week 8 against Gravity for Team Dignitas as the must-win for them there. But even so, they need to pick up some wins in between against either Liquid, Team Impulse, or CLG. All very strong teams.
Absolutely. Dignitas going to do what they can to figure out what's going to improve them. See their coach right there saying, guys, I'm going to figure this out. Here's what I believe. If I could read lips, I would tell you what he was saying.
Well, that'll be an unfair advantage, Phreak.
To be fair to everyone, teams should just hire lip readers and look at the VODs and be like, here's how Dig's going to play next week. Figure out the strategies. I don't know. It's probably useless. Overall, though, Cloud9, yes, they played the way we kind of expected from old Cloud9. Look, control the lanes, win strictly via farm, and have the ward control to allow them to keep farming. Meteos ended that game up 47 kills, minion kills, I would say, over Azingy. The farm lead was what got them ahead, and then by the end of the game, they just dove turrets with tanks, and hey, That was how they won way back when they were the most dominant team.
And most importantly, with a whole bunch of crowd control.
Yep.
So when they dive, there's not much fighting back.
Yep. And that worked out. So playing a very aggressive team fight comp worked out here for Cloud9. We'll see if they can take any more wins next weekend in Poland or throughout the next couple months in the NALCS as they gear up for